Over at DC Comics, I love it when we get the opportunity to witness real change, real tangible things happening in the universe that kind of sets it apart from the decades and decades of previous superhero stories that we've gotten in the past. And I think that when DC unleashed their Future State initiative, which saw several titles venture into the future, we got a very fascinating look at one of DC's newer characters named Yara Flor. Yara Flor was the Wonder Woman of Future State and had so many great interactions with all the characters across the DC universe. And after the Future State saga, wondergirl Yara Flor was even given her very own series. Sadly, that title came to an end before I think Yara's story was done being told. But as a sort of consolation prize, it looks like we have Yara Flor joining the pages of Wonder Woman for a bit of a guest appearance in the series' latest issue. My name is Arico Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and jump into Wonder Woman 795 to see how DC Comics is using the character of Yara Flor, and I'm also curious to watch her go ahead and just establish her relationship alongside dianaprince, Wonder Woman herself. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to go ahead and encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. Next up, I want to read off the solicitation text for Wonder Woman 795 to get you caught up to speed on some of the events in the issue. As trouble begins to mount in Olympus, Wonder Woman begins to understand that the gods have taken a particular interest in mortals for the first time in centuries. Now with her new partner, wondergirl Yara Flor, she hopes to defend man's world from whatever the immortal beings are preparing. But will these Wonder Women be enough? And I want to read off our creative team on the issue. So this issue is written by Becky, Cloonan, and Michael Conrad. We have art from Amancay Nahuelpan and colors from Tamra Bonvillain, letters from Pat Brosseau, and we have a gorgeous cover that I'm going to go ahead and show off right now over from Yanick Paquette and Nathan Fairbairn, whose work I've been enjoying over in the space of comics for an extremely long time. So it's good to see that the duo has reunited here for some covers. And I want to take a step back and just say I love kind of the expression that Yanick Paquette has captured for Yara on this cover. I really enjoy watching Yara and, basically her horse Jerry, as the duo kind of have such interesting adventures throughout the DC universe. And I really enjoy how this Wonder Woman series kind of throughout its run has continued to occasionally bring Yara Flor back into focus. Okay, so I want to go ahead and jump into some of the analysis of the issue. The first thing I want to go ahead and do here is show off some of the gorgeous artwork from artist Amancay Nahuelpan. If you take a look at some of these preview pages, my main takeaway from kind of this issue is that Nahuelpan's art is just so incredibly precise in this issue. I have to imagine that colorist Tamra Bonvillain really assists with making this art look as good as it does. And I want to give Tamra Bonvillain a special shout out here because I've noticed that when Bonvillain is coloring a title that I always have, very pleasant, very, very nice things to say about that. So I'm starting to think that Bonvillain is among the upper echelon of colorists over at DC Comics. And if you just look at particularly how this Wonder Woman is depicted on the page, there is just so much incredible detail from the Nahuelpan, from Wonder Woman's muscles to her, comics accurate costume. There's just so much precision in this. Also, I love how Nahuelpan's art is able to evoke previous Wonder Girl artist Joelle Jones in terms of some of the facial expressions for the character, and it's just something that feels a little bit natural. I'm hoping that DC is making that a little bit intentional to retain kind of some of those facial features across different artists, but also keep some of that same style in the art as well. This issue is full of like big bombastic action sequences, and I think Nahuelpan does a great job kind of making the gods look bigger than the actual characters in the issue. So I'm glad to see that some of this sense of perspective is fleshed out really nicely. And I really enjoy how writers Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad continue to kind of play off of the Wonder Girl title by reintroducing the character of Eros. And Eros and Yara have had an incredibly tumultuous relationship. And seeing this comic kind of pull on some of those plot threads from Wonder Girl series and reference the tumultuous kind of love relationship between these two characters is such a fantastic story direction for Cloonan and Conrad to go in here. There is so much raw emotion in this issue between Eros and Yara, and it's just kind of such a joy to watch the two kind of spar and come to terms that their kind of romance has failed. And it's interesting to see kind of who accepts the blame and who doesn't. I really like the questions that Cloonan and Conrad are asking in this book. And while I do think that this book had the potential to be melodramatic in its focus and direction, I think that the end result has just the right layers of these elements to make it so that they don't feel forced, on the page itself. I think this issue feels relatively natural. And also, I do like how this run has kind of continued the focus on, the various gods, as well as some of the supporting cast. It's really good to see Siegfried in this issue alongside Steve Trevor and Etta Candy. They're kind of going on their own adventure in the title. But I really like how I think kind of like at the halfway point towards the end, the focus on Yara and Eros sort of kind of dissipates as Cloonan and Conrad explore all of those like individual story avenues. And then we switch over to more of a focus on what Steve Trevor, Etta Candy, and Siegfried are up to in the background fighting the Hyperion character. And this also wasn't the only story in the issue, as we're treated to another Young Diana tale in this issue. So the Young Diana tale is called A Light That Never Goes Out. It's written by Jordie Bellaire, illustrated by Paulina Ganucheau, colored by Kendall Goode, and lettered by Becca Carey. So in this second story, I was initially kind of like apprehensive of the source material because I was almost not sure if a story featuring like the young dianaprince character would really, captivate me or interest me in the story. But I have to give it to the entire creative team here, from writer Jordie Bellaire, artist Paulina Ganucheau, and the colors from Kendall Goode. Everything kind of comes together in this second story and really delivers like a dark fantasy twist with a younger character that has a surprise ending. And really, at the end of the day, all I can ask for is an entertaining comic book. And that's exactly what the creative team was able to deliver in this second story. I think it's really cool that DC is publishing a story with a younger Wonder Woman in the background, because I think it might give a different audience a sort of entry point into this run. And if you're interested in kind of anything I said during the course of this review, I would highly encourage you to go ahead and check out Wonder Woman 795. I had an absolute blast reading this issue. I'm not quite a regular reader of Wonder Woman, but that might change if we continue to see the level of quality that I've witnessed in this issue alone. So I want to know from you, did you like Wonder Woman 795? What were your thoughts on the team up between Diana and Yara? Do you want to see more Wonder Girl as a character? I know for myself, I am so disappointed that DC is not publishing an ongoing series featuring this character, because if they were, I would certainly go ahead and dive in and read it. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. We'll be back very soon with more excellent comic book content, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.